Welcome back. All right, so to close out the night, because there's no night game on, because it was supposed to be the Islanders and the Canucks, but they postponed that. So I'm going to set up on the night before. I usually set up the board for the preview for the next day. And so while I'm doing that, Yvonne's going to be doing the whole Q&A thing for tonight. So there you go. All right, shoot.
Okay, now we haven't done one of these in forever.
No, I know.
Sorry
about that.
Yeah, well, we had the rain and then the flooding and then
Everything
holiday.
else,
So we're really behind. So I only went back so far. All right. How much of an effect do you think the stadium music and sounds have on the players' morale? If the song choice does affect players, are there team DJs who could use some improvement?
I would hope that by the time players are at the pro level that they can tune all that out. I think they're pretty good at tuning that out. I think fan noise might affect them, but I would hope that the music choices don't have an effect positively or negatively, that they're able to just kind of tune that out.
Who do you think the Stars trade at goalie if all four are healthy?
Well, I think that Hudobin's going to stay in the minors. I think Hudobin's the one that's going to get traded. Bishop, since that was written, has been he's retired now. He's not officially, but he's on LTI or he's not coming back. So I think with Hudobin, I think they're going to. There's been some interest. I think the cap hit means that it's going to be a little bit difficult, but Hudobin's the one that's going to get traded. Look for something at the deadline.
Is Patrick Kane done as a top franchise player, or does he just need more support?
I think Kane's been fine. Like last night, for instance, Chicago, I think Kane and DeBrincat were fantastic. The supporting cast in Chicago hasn't been fantastic. Their goaltending's been... I mean, Fleury's got a lot better, but there's been some inconsistency in net. And their blue line had such a rough start to the season. They had the Colleton disaster as well. I think they just dug themselves into a big hole. But I think next season we'll see probably a big year from Kane and DeBrincat, and probably a better year for Chicago in general.
All right, you sign up for your local hockey league and need to select 3 potential numbers to wear. What are your selections and why?
Numbers to wear for playing in...
if you were to pick jersey numbers for you.
Well, if I was playing on the blue line, if I was going to be on the blue line, I'd probably go with 7. If I'm playing up front, it would probably be 13. If I was ridiculously crazy and I was playing in goal, that would...
if you were crazy and
playing goalie, I'd probably go with 30 if I was playing in goal. That'd be crazy, though. I don't play goal. I offered for like a little game between a few of us guys, but it didn't actually happen. We got snowed out, so I didn't have to worry about looking really bad as a goaltender. I haven't played goal even in street hockey since I was like 15.
Do you think... I don't know.
Do you think I don't know?
Is it Jakob?
Oh, Jacob Chikrin.
Okay. Will be traded at the deadline. If so, to who? Apart from the Panthers, because that's obvious.
Well, see, for Chikrin, the thing is, I'm kind of surprised his name's out there as much as it is. He's on a very team-friendly contract. He's still young. Arizona doesn't really need to move him at this point, so the only reason they would, I would think, would be if he asked, or if somebody makes an impossible deal. The last report I heard was they want kind of the same deal that Vegas got, or Vegas had to give up to get Eichel, which is like multiple first-round equivalents, and teams balked at that. There were a lot of teams that said, we just can't do that. So unless they come down in that demand before the deadline, he probably stays in Arizona, which hopefully he does, because he's one of the best young defensemen in the league. I don't know why they'd trade him.
Does Marchand become a lock for the Hall if he wins a gold in the upcoming Olympics?
Oh, yeah, that is a while ago, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we're not going to the Olympics.
Right.
I will say this, if they'd gone to the Olympics and if he'd won gold, that is 2/3 of, like, you have the World Junior gold, you have the Olympic gold, and then you have the Stanley Cup, which is considered that other big championship, and then, of course, World Championships, too. I think that For Marchand, I do wonder, like, if he ends up getting like 1,000 points in his career, he should at least get consideration. I do wonder if his reputation would keep him out of the Hall of Fame. We've seen that where players' reputations will keep them out of the Hall of Fame. It might submarine his chances. I think he'd have to get a heart in the NHL, and then somehow, some way, have more championship success, whether it's Stanley Cup or he gets into the next Olympics, something crazy like that.
Do you think the Leafs are playing their best hockey, even better than last year?
Well, they're coming off of a win tonight against Edmonton, proving that this is being recorded, or that I predicted that Toronto would beat Edmonton. Either way, but yeah, I think the Leafs right now, what's impressive is that they're getting the depth scoring. The depth scoring's been very good. Their goaltending has been absolutely excellent with Campbell. As long as he stays healthy, they're in good shape. I think the Leafs are playing very well. The problem is the last couple of years they went into the first round, I thought this is it. They're finally going to win something, and then they didn't. So I have this concern that they're going to find a way to seize a loss from the jaws of victory, and I'm hoping I'm wrong, but it's happened so many times.
When will Drury get fired? I assume Sather will die a Ranger along with Dolan.
Well, so for the New York Rangers right now, nobody's in any danger with the New York Rangers. I think that if the Rangers make the playoffs and they keep playing the way they are right now, then I would think that buys Drury at least 2 years. At least 2 years beyond this one before there'd even be a consideration. There'd have to be some disastrous result. I didn't agree with the move to fire everybody during the past offseason anyways, but I don't see them making any moves at all in the front office over the next couple of years if they keep playing the way they are right now.
Who is the next coach getting fired, and who do you think is a replacement for that coach?
I think that the creeping feeling I'm getting right now is Edmonton. The feeling around Edmonton right now is very similar. It's not as toxic, but it's similar to the one in Vancouver before Green got fired, that fans really want it, and there's talk about it, and he's talking about it in press conferences. And once a coach is talking about, well, I don't think I should get fired, that's up to them, that's usually a sign they might be on their way out.
Will the Islanders move to retool?
The Islanders, I would think that if they stay where they are right now, they're going to have to move some of those older players. They're going to have to move, like Parisi's going to have to get moved. Somebody's going to have to get moved out of their older players. So I would think there'd be draft picks coming back. I would think there'd be some kind of they'd be looking for a quick turnaround. They want to get back into the playoffs next year.
What's a defensive pairing that you believe has been underrated so far in this season? To follow up on that, which defensive pairing do you think is overrated?
Underrated? Almost any pairing in Pittsburgh is underrated. St. Louis's defense has been underrated for a while as well. And I know they won the Cup in 2019, but I think they're still underrating of guys like Parayko. I think the fact that they lost Pietrangelo, didn't skip a beat, and Krug is not Pietrangelo in terms of all-around defenseman, I think St. Louis has a really solid defense.
How big are your whiteboards?
This one here is, I think it's 30 inches by 40 inches. Most of my boards are 2 feet, 24 inches by 3 feet, 36 inches.
Is Alex Galchenyuk a bust?
Yeah, Galchenyuk, it goes back a ways now. Basically, when Montreal traded him, they knew what they were doing. Arizona, he scores 19 goals in the season for Arizona, and even though he was one of the best goal scorers for them that year, they still let him go. He's back in Arizona now. It's gone. His scoring is just gone.
In one of your, well, it wouldn't be that recent videos now, a history of change in the NHL, you talk about the rule change where penalties are now ended when a goal is scored.
Yep.
Can you talk about how the game might change if a rule like that were to be amended?
I think it was the Montreal Canadiens that caused them to change it. The Montreal Canadiens back in, I think it was the 40s or 50s, they'd be picking off 3 goals in a power play. So they were like, okay, so once that goal scored, you're out of the box. I think that it'll definitely change at some point. It's going to have to be, though, like GMs are going to have to say that it needs to be changed. And I don't have a problem with the idea of it changing, because it's always been weird to me that You might get a power play, you score 5 seconds into it, and it's over. And so it kind of it punishes that team then, because now there's an extra minute plus beyond where another team might have scored that goal. I don't know when that changes back. I would think eventually it does.
What do you like for goaltending? 2 mid-range duo or 9 million plus league minimum duo, or both, Fleury and Leonard, like Vegas had last year?
Basically, the cap hit to me is whatever, because it depends on the whole cap structure of the team. For me, it's more of a, okay, so if the starter gets hurt, can the backup win you games? And so I don't care what the backup makes, as long as the backup can win games. Like right now with Dallas, if Ottinger has to play because Holtby's hurt, I don't get nervous about that. In Boston, if Swayman's playing, doesn't make me nervous at all. Ullmark kind of makes me nervous at times. Ullmark's the one making big money. And every team's salary cap structure is different. So I'm more along the lines of, can the backup win you games? And if they can, I have a lot more faith in that team's goaltending.
Why do teams or coaches have certain players they treat unfairly? Vladislav Nandiskov
Wait, where is it? Oh, Nemesnikov.
couldn't show his game on the Rangers, but shows he can play well without Kucherov for the Red Wings.
Nemesnikov, it was a bad fit with the Rangers. That one just did not work. And it was funny because when he got traded to the Rangers, I thought that was a really good move for New York. I like Nemesnikov a lot in Tampa, but that's the thing. Sometimes a player just works really well in a certain location, and in Detroit, it works for Nemesnikov. He even had a fight the other night.
What happened to the old switcheroo in your power rankings with Rutherford hired in Vancouver? Are you hoping for some deals like the Pens Maple Leafs trade that over time, end up sort of being a head scratcher, but you end up with most of the players involved in said trade?
I'm wondering how many trades Rutherford's going to make, and I do wonder too. Like once they've hired a GM, is that GM going to make all the trades, or do they have to go to Rutherford first? Rutherford has a lot of experience. He does make me kind of nervous through some of the deals, some of the signings he's made over the years. I think that, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with Rutherford. I'm kind of hoping that they wait on deals until the new GM's on board and we get the vision from that new GM and what he wants to do. What was the start of that?
The switcheroo with the power rankings.
I don't do the switcheroo anymore in the power rankings. I don't think I've done that in 3 years. I think it's been 3 years. And
It's been that long?
Yeah, I stopped it because the channel was just getting too big, and I thought, it seems a little amateurish. I really like. It bothers me when somebody just skips to the end and complains. Which
they do every single week.
It drives me crazy because like I try to give an explanation for why every team's where they're at, and I'll even say, I understand this team's lower than their fan base may want. I understand this team's higher than other fan bases may think, but based on, and I'll give like examples of why I've left them where they are, I've moved them up or moved them down. It's frustrating people move to or just skip to the end. So yeah, I would do the switcheroo, but eventually the channel was just too big. I was like, I can't keep doing this because it does come off as kind of amateurish.
Which of the Alberta teams is more likely to miss the playoffs?
You know, it's funny because 2 weeks ago, I said Calgary. 2 weeks ago, I said, nope, if either of them are going to fall out, I think Calgary. They didn't make the playoffs last year. I like Calgary. I think that, maybe Markstrom's numbers are a little high. Those are probably going to come down. I don't know with Vladar. Edmonton's got the experience. They've had some success in recent seasons in terms of at least making the playoffs. But right now with just this huge skid they've been on, yeah, the Oilers look like they could be the team to miss.
Best goaltender duo.
Right now, see, I want to say Knight and Bobrovsky, but Spencer Knight hasn't been up there. I'll say right now with where we're at, Shesterkin and Georgiev. I've been a huge fan of both goaltenders. And it's nice to see Georgiev having a bit of a bounce back because he was having a rough time there.
Considering he was crucial to the Capitals winning their first Stanley Cup, what happened to Devontae Smith-Pelly? Why has no one given him a chance considering the championship background?
Well, he was a fourth line player when he was signed by Washington. It was, I remember when he was signed, and I kind of felt like, well, they're signing him because at the time they had salary cap problems and they could only afford to bring in guys for the bottom six that were on $700,000 deals. So there wasn't like a whole lot of, wow, they got a huge deal with Devontae Smith-Pelly. And then it's a matter of he just doesn't have that NHL level skill at this point. Like he's in Laval. They signed him to an AHL deal a couple weeks back. I understand he's a great guy. Everybody really likes him, but I don't think the NHL level skill is there. I hope that changes, but that happens a lot. Your fourth line players, they get rotated in and out of the league a lot. I have nothing but respect for fourth line guys.
Who do you think was more disappointed with losing to the Stanley Cup runner-up, the 2010 Rangers or the 2021 Maple Leafs?
Nothing is worse than the disappointment for the 2021 Maple Leafs. You saw that special with me. That team was just absolutely gutted that they blew that 3-1 lead against Montreal. Yeah. That was because honestly, if they'd knocked out Montreal, it would have been a huge weight off their shoulders. It would have been a lot of their personal demons kicked to the curb, and I think they could have gone on a run. I think at the very least they probably would have ended up against Vegas, and I think if they'd lost in the semifinals against Vegas, I think there would have been a lot less judgment of the team and a lot more optimism going into this season.
Do you think that if the NHL didn't enforce the salary cap, that they would be in a similar situation to the MLB with two different types of teams, small market and big market?
Well, we had that before the salary cap. So we had like the New York Rangers, the Detroit Red Wings, Montreal Canadiens, Toronto Maple Leafs, your big market, your original six, the guys making all the money. They could spend whatever, and you could spend $4 or $5 million on a contract. That guy sucks. You just send him to the minors. You spend another $3-4 million to bring somebody else in. We would absolutely see that. If there was a luxury tax like they have in baseball, where you pay like a little tax for being over the cap, teams would be way over the cap. Toronto would be so far over the cap. It would be. It really dulls the whole point of the salary cap.
Will you ever take another look at the SPHL or any other smaller league at some point?
I will. One thing is that with the pandemic, a lot of leagues get shut down. And so when we're already talking about like NHL postponements and shutdowns and everything, if I'm then going through other leagues and going, hey, here's a video. Oh, well, these guys are shut down too. It just feels like it's a downer. I like the SPHL. I think that, you know, the names of the teams are fantastic. Where the teams are is great. Sometime we're going to do like a tour of all these southern cities with their little buildings, because it's going to be nice and warm down there, and it's not going to be warm up here. So at some point that would be great to do like a series of stuff from SPHL destinations. And I would love to do videos like that, but even like the last couple of weeks, I haven't been able to really do AHL videos because of all the upheaval in the NHL. So it's a challenge right now. See, it's even boring her. So anybody.
Is Jason Robertson going to be what 08 through 12 Louis Eriksson was for Dallas, as in Louis was very underrated while in Dallas, and Robertson is very good but seemingly underappreciated?
Robertson's definitely underappreciated. I don't think he will be for long. The one thing with Louis Eriksson was he was never one of the fastest players. Jason Robertson is an absolutely dynamic, very fast player, and he can change the complexion of the game. So all it really takes is Dallas has got to make the playoffs, and you know, have Dallas against a team like Edmonton or Calgary. Have Dallas against a team where it's going to get a lot of media attention either in Canada or a major market in the States. And I don't think it would take very long for Robertson to generate a lot of buzz. Dallas doesn't get anywhere near as much attention as I think they probably should, considering the run in 2020. But at the same time, 2021 was a miserable year for them mostly. So,
who has the worst goal song in the league, and why is it Toronto?
It's not Toronto. As long as it's "Don't You Forget About Me" in Vancouver by the Simple Minds, or by Simple Minds. There's no "the" in there. I don't know why I put a "the" in there. But yeah, that is the worst goal song, period. There is no goal song worse than "Don't You Forget About." When they played it the first time, I was like, "Is this a
You're
joke?"
Like, wait, what?
Oh,
Yes.
it's 80s night. Got it. And
yes,
then
we thought it was an 80s night thing. That's right.
And then the next game they played it again, and I thought,
Wait
well,
a
that's
second.
that's not good. That's problematic that they're still playing that.
We did think it was a special 80s night
Yeah.
thing and why they did that song.
I like the song, but
Because
not
there
as a
could
goal
be no
song.
other reason that they would play it, right?
Not as a goal song. I mean, why don't they go with something Canadian? Like, there's got to be a Loverboy song they could use. Can't be as bad as Hall & Oates is for
They're
Toronto.
people ones.
The thing with the Hall & Oates, though, as much as I disliked it initially, now it's just sort of whatever. It's whatever.
There's fun 3 Days Grace songs.
Yeah, there are. They could play...
Let's Start a Riot.
Or that
That
one...
song's fun.
Red...
Oh, Infrared.
Infrared.
That one's fun
Infrared
too.
would be a good goal song.
That's a fun one.
Or just go back to Holiday, like we have here in Abbotsford.
Yes.
Holiday
I do like
is
that
a
one.
fantastic goal song.
I do like that one.
It's perfect. It's peppy.
Yeah.
You've got like a 20-second period you can play, and you get everything, gets the crowd all hopped up, and then
Yeah.
the play starts again. It's perfect.
Okay. Why are brothers never as equally talented? Outside of maybe Burries, the Fedorov and Gretzky brothers weren't dynamic together.
Well, I mean, that's
Because
basically...
they're different
yeah.
people.
Yeah, it's like Jamie and Jordy Ben. Jamie Ben is a star player through most of his career.
Siblings rarely have the same
Jordy
talent.
Ben is a good depth defenseman, tough player, completely different careers. I have a lot of respect for Jordy Ben for hanging on and playing in as many locations as he has. Someday there'll be a journeyman video on Jordy Ben when his career's done. But yeah, I mean, Jordy Ben, Jamie Ben, I mean, yeah, it's just that's how brothers are. I mean, I went to school with a lot of brothers, and they were never equally talented at sports, and there was usually
Or
one that
anything.
was way better.
Not just sports, anything.
And the one that's way better is kind of a prick about it, usually to the other brother. So
That's just how siblings are.
that was my experience, anyways. I don't have any
Siblings.
siblings, so I would just watch.
Yeah, siblings can be terrible.
Absolutely.
Should Avalanche fans be concerned with Makar's health? He missed 30 games that he was supposed to play in so far in his career, roughly 20%. For reference, Fox, a defenseman with similar skill, was supposed to play the same amount and only missed 1.
Well, see, with Makar, I'm not as worried with Makar. The one that I'm really worried about in Colorado is Byram, because while Makar's getting hurt here and there, and he does miss a lot of time, which with how Makar plays and the intensity he plays with, that might be just part of his game. Byram, it's repeated concussions and head injuries, and it's ongoing head injuries. So that I'm more worried about Byram than I am about Makar. Makar, it should straighten itself out. He's only 23. Eventually, it'll and I say that because we saw that with Crosby. Crosby for years it was concussions and it was this and that, and then suddenly he played almost every game for I think 4 or 5 years. So Makar should be okay. It's Byram I worry about in Colorado.
Although I don't think we'll ever see the NHL implement a penalty that isn't a multiple of 2 or 5 minutes, what do you think of puck over glass being a 60 or 90-second penalty? I know it's not a pressing issue, but it's silly when a slightly faulty dump carries more weight than a two-hander or water skiing late in games, especially in playoffs.
See, I remember before the puck over glass penalty was brought in, and there were way too many times that you would see a defenseman just dump the puck over the glass. And it was to the point of epidemic. That's why they brought the penalty in. And if you drop the penalty, so it's only a 60-second penalty, I think it would start to go up again. You would see defensemen going, okay, well, I'll just take the penalty because it's only a minute. So I think we would start seeing the puck going over the glass a lot more. And I don't want to see that back in the game like it was, because it was getting ridiculous.
Would you endorse a campaign to have Louis Eriksson captain the Central in the All-Star game?
I think that would be great. But the NHL would submarine that. That's the thing. Like the NHL, anything fun you want to do, vote for Rory, is what I think of. And I did. I voted for Rory many, many times over. And then the NHL stepped in and went, no, Rory Fitzpatrick's not going to be in the All-Star game. And I was like, what are we even doing this for? If you're not going to let the fans have fun with it. And John Scott was another one. John Scott was leading in voting, and so he gets traded and buried. And it was like the NHL wanted him out. They're like, oh no, that's embarrassing. No, what's embarrassing is that your fans are telling you what they want to see, and you're telling them they're not allowed. So that's why I haven't voted this year in the All-Star thing. I will never vote in an All-Star thing again, because the NHL has shown They have no problem with changing the results if they don't like what the result is.
Can Canada still put together a pretty good team for the Olympics despite the NHL not going?
You know, looking at the guys that they've got on the short list, I think that some of the kids that might go over are interesting. Like Owen Power is on the list. There's a few other from the World Junior team that could be going over. I think it could be a lot of fun to watch. There are going to be names, blasts from the past. Eric Stahl's name is on the list. I think that Canada will always compete well. I don't think they'll be favorites for the gold. I think that Russia has an excellent chance of winning the gold this time around.
What is your definition of a high-scoring game? Mine is when both teams have 3+ goals.
To me, it has to be 5-4 or higher. It has to be 5-4 or higher for me to actually think it's a high-scoring game. That's where it's actually, a lot of offense going on. You can have a 4-3 game where it might be a fluky goal here or there, but yeah, 5-4 and higher is a pretty offensive game. Where are you going? I'm just watching him because he's.
Where'd he go? Oh, he's back there.
Yeah, he's back there.
I see.
Oh, now he's up with Shadow. Hi.
Yes, there's Bunny.
You with Shadow? Is Shadow in your spot? You're in his spot,
Blocking
Shadow.
bunny views.
There.
You're in his spot.
Look at that look. Shadow's like, excuse me.
Hi. Are you in his spot?
Okay.
Yes.
Let's see. If Edmonton misses the playoffs and McDavid requests a trade, would Draisaitl go with him?
Oh, that'd be way too much. To get McDavid and Draisaitl, you'd have to basically give up your entire franchise. The asking price would be astronomical. It'd be way too high.
Is Michael Del Zotto a bust or an example of an old school hockey player?
Del Zotto, it's interesting. He had a good start to the season last year in Columbus. Not a great start to the season this year with Ottawa. The interesting thing with Del Zotto is he can produce points and still end up being a healthy scratch because of the defensive side of things. I mean, Del Zotto has a cup ring. Del Zotto has been through a lot of different teams. I don't know about the word bust because when a guy's got a cup ring and they've played for that many teams and for that long, I mean, he may not have lived up to the expectations when he was initially drafted, but he's had a half decent career. You're way too overstimulated right now.
Who are your 2 Eastern Conference Finals and 2 Western Conference Finals playoff teams?
If it was right now, I can't see anybody taking out Tampa, and I got a bad feeling Pittsburgh. I got a bad feeling Tampa and Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh started to really do it again. They have 9 wins in a row right now.
Boo.
So yeah, you may
Not
see
that I have
another.
an opinion on
You
it,
may
but
see
I
another
think
Pittsburgh Stanley Cup.
No.
And then out of the West,
vetoed it.
I can't see anybody in the Pacific taking out Vegas. And in the Central, I know Colorado's got goaltending problems. I would say that Colorado should have the inside track on a conference final this year, although St. Louis is right there. So for me, St. Louis or Colorado against Vegas. I know that's boring options. You wouldn't be happy.
No.
So, but that's...
I vetoed Pittsburgh, though, so
I don't think you can do
we don't
that.
have to worry about that now.
Well, if you don't get
We're good.
Pittsburgh, you might get Washington because Ovechkin may want to go on another run.
I'll pass on that, too.
Well, who would you want then? Rangers?
No.
I mean, it has to be somebody from the Central. Carolina?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll do
there you
Carolina.
go, Carolina.
There we go.
The Metro is going to be ridiculous. The Metro in the playoffs is going to be absolutely ridiculous. There are going to be some very good teams that are out in the first round. Those 2 versus 3 matchups in every division should be fantastic. The Pacific may not be as riveting for people because I don't think you're going to have teams that are on the same level as 2 versus 3 in any other divisions. But I think all the series 2 versus 3 could be really good this year because they should be all really good teams.
We're actually all caught up. That was the last one.
You're all caught up?
I know, right?
Here we go.
Well, probably because we haven't done a video in so long, people stop asking questions.
Well, and I let it run for half an hour.
that
there's
helps
that.
too. So
And that...
we didn't say in the beginning. These are from on the Discord channel. We have a channel on Discord for people to ask questions that we every once in a while, not very often, do a video where we answer the questions.
We will do it more often.
plan.
We
Our
will do it
plans
more
don't
often.
always work.
I know, but we will. We'll do it more often now that we're out of the holidays and things.
Barring that we don't have another major flood. Or...
Tomorrow we're supposed to have an ice storm, so I may not be able to do videos tomorrow if the power goes out. So I might be preparing a video here that I may not be able to do because if we get that ice storm,
So
it
what
could
we
knock
can
out our power.
do is charge all of our phones and our phone chargers. Might have to
And
do
then use
data.
to upload videos
We
all
could
day.
go to. I was gonna say no. We could go to McDonald's parking lot, but that would take forever. We tried that once. Remember?
Oh,
tried to use
that was in the
Wi-Fi
States,
somewhere
though.
else. That's true.
That was in the
That
States.
took forever.
But at the
No,
same
this
time,
doesn't
I would
work.
imagine there's like throttling on uploading things using their servers.
I think so.
Because my videos tend to have a lot of data
Right.
involved. So, yeah. I remember I uploaded one at, a Starbucks in Seattle.
That's what it was. Yes, a Starbucks. That's right.
And I had to kind of just stand there with the phone.
Yeah. Yes.
I think it was on the phone. And I had to just
I
stand there and
remember-
wait.
Yeah, it was a Starbucks.
And yeah, that was
And we had
that was interesting.
somebody recognized us.
Yes.
It was a tiny little Starbucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
In Seattle. That's
that
right.
was 3 years ago, I think. Three and a half years ago.
Feels like forever ago.
Was that when we were going down at St. Helens?
No, because we didn't have the kids with us. It was probably when we went down for a meetup. Isn't it when we went down to one of the
last
times
meetup
went
we
to
did in
Tacoma?
Seattle.
Wasn't that in Tacoma?
Was that the one in Tacoma or Seattle?
I think so.
Okay.
I think that's when we went
Maybe.
to Tacoma.
Well, ask Drew.
At the fun little
Drew's not busy. Ask him.
at that fun outdoor. Wasn't really for hockey, was it?
It was like a Thunderdome.
I don't remember.
It was a big Thunderdome, and we all fought to the death, and
It's not.
it was great. So, it wasn't like a permanent death thing, though, so it was okay. So, anyways, but there you go. Thank you guys so much for watching. And again, we'll try to keep up on this. Well, I think we should do one a week. I do. We just need to figure out.
That's the plan.
I know, but we
Well,
need
the
to figure
plan
out
was
a
every
day.
other week.
I think Wednesdays
true.
probably work
If
because
we-
Wednesdays usually aren't as bad.
Put it in the calendar like we do with the Patreon live streams.
Right. So Wednesdays are probably the best days, I think, if we're going to do it.
All right.
Is that your best day or no?
Depends on the time of day.
Okay. All right. So we'll figure
It's
that
not
out.
like we're going anywhere right now. So right now, my schedule's open.
And with the 20 centimeters, so we got 8
I'm not
inches.
going anywhere.
8 inches of snow coming in tonight, and then it's
On
supposed
top
to
of
be.
the snow that has not melted.
And then we're supposed to have freezing rain in the morning, followed by
So much
torrential
snow.
downpours of rain.
That'd be fun.
So-
I'm not driving.
They actually said on the weather forecast flooding, and I'm like, wow, they've never actually put flooding in the
I
forecast.
didn't know that was the weather.
That's different. So, okay, here we go. So if I survive, I'll talk to you guys again tomorrow. If not,
We already have sandbags, so we're good. They're still out there. They're covered in snow, but we do still have sandbags.
okay. So there you go.
So,
All right. Thanks,
They're
guys,
set.
for watching, and hopefully,
did they finally take out the dumpsters though?
I don't.
Yeah, I think all the bins are gone though, but we still
Okay.
have sandbags.
All right,
So we're
there you
still
go.
good.
So hopefully everything's okay tomorrow. If not, it's been nice knowing you, and there'll be other hockey guys. Sure. All right. Anyways, thanks guys for watching, for all your support. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for everything, and thanks for the questions as well on Discord. I will talk
And
to
the
you
link
guys.
to the Discord's in the description.
It's in the description
down
for every video.
there.
So, yeah. All right. Thanks for coming out, for watching, all that stuff. I will talk to you again soon.